Broken starts, everything will fall apart. Let's rewind. Growing up, who were your idols? Seeing the news about Guanarajo, scared well-being. Now I'm not believing. Why was I cursed like this? Why is life such a trip? It's all a cloud of mist, depressed and dissed. Don't leave us, you will be missed dearly from all the boys and girls. Everyone in this lonely world, losing time, losing faith, harming self, alarming stealth, trained eyes and bleeding tongues. Revive and start a new device, eating crumbs. Will I be one who shoots up at school? Am I those abandoned kids on the news? What will I do? How will I survive? All I want to do is bribe. Heads filled with thoughts, only death reserved the slot in my near future. Sewing up sutures, nowhere left to go. Crawl to the dark abyss, heartless foe. Maybe one day someone will love me and call me Miss Love. One child, one soul, one mind, born divine. Broken hearts, broken starts, everything will fall apart. Just breaks away, and we're left to stay. Just breaks away, no we're left to stay. Just breaks away, no we're left to stay. Just breaks away, no we're left, no we're left, no we're left, no we're.
Yo, DeSando, this shit 400 degrees.
Let's go. Yeah, let's get it. Trapping and rapping, it's nasty. I wake up, then roll up. Your bitch called, then show up. She deep throat, she throw up. She love the dick that she chose up. Cause I'm a real nigga, don't give a fuck how you feel. A nigga straight out of I'm from the Ville. A nigga, I'll give your bitch dick, she can feel it, nigga. Turn up all day, like it's payday. Smoke, drink, and parlay, then invite your girl to the party. Girl, sip your glass of wine. Damn, girl, your ass is fine. I just wanna spend some time at my body and explore your mind. Cause I'm a real nigga, don't give a fuck how you feel. A nigga straight out of I'm from the Ville. A nigga, I'll give your bitch dick, she can feel. Now she with a real nigga straight out of I'm from the Ville. A nigga, don't give a fuck how you feel. A nigga, I'll give your bitch dick, she can feel, nigga. Trapping and rapping, I be rapping and trapping. Yo, bitch, love my macking, cause I keep it cracking. Make my next move my best move, but I make it happen. Trapping and rapping and trapping. I try to stop him, but him won't stop. Nah, my people don't stop. Nah, my people don't stop. Nah, my people don't stop. I try to stop him, but him won't stop. Nah, my people don't stop. Nah, my people don't stop. Nah, my people don't stop. I got such a loyal bitch. When she got her stimulus, she took me out, then cashed me out, gave me a zip of Chris. Told me to flip the shit, cause she know I'm with the shit. It's COVID-19 taxing, so I double flip the shit. A dime is 20, a dub is 40, a gram is 50 if your bitch is 40. Don't ask for credit, don't try to short me, please lose my number. If you can't afford me, I'll pay the cost to be the boss. No need to floss, nor take a loss. I got the drip, I stay with the sauce. My time is money, so don't piss me off. Cause I'm a real nigga, don't give a fuck how you feel. A nigga straight out of Villette, I'm from the Ville. A nigga, I'll give your bitch dick, she can feel. Now she with a real. A nigga, don't give a fuck how you feel. A nigga straight out of Villette, I'm from the Ville. A nigga, I'll give your bitch dick, she can feel. Nigga, I try to stop him, but it won't stop. Nah, my people don't stop. Nah, my people won't stop. Nah, my people don't stop. I try to stop him, but it won't stop. Nah, my people don't stop. Nah, my people won't stop. Nah, my people don't stop. Let's go. Yeah, let's get it. Trapping and rapping. It's nasty.
Hey, I just dropped my nuts on. Got these niggas mad cause I don't fuck with them. If it ain't about a bag, that I can't fuck with them. Tryna hurt my family, we gon' up on them. Yeah, we gon' up on them. I just drop my nuts on them. Got these niggas mad cause I don't fuck with them. If it ain't about a bag, that I can't fuck with them. Tryna hurt my family, we gon' up on them. Yeah, we gon' up on them. I had to drop my nuts on them. Niggas mad, I don't fuck with them. Glock 17s, we stuffed them. Run up them bags and double it. Man, pass me the bag, you fumbling. Say that shit with your chest, you mumbling. Might drop me a tape when the summer hit. Only real niggas I'm fucking with. Hey, shout out the gang, my brother's lit. I'm all about a bag, fuck a bitch. ACD Ream, I can never switch. Reach for my chain, you getting hit. Real niggas, yeah, they feeling this. They like Ream, he killing it. And I'm going up. And I can't stop with the ceiling is. And I talk about money, you been dismissed. I'm getting bread, fuck it this. I stay with a shooter, he gon' switch. I'm all about money, I'm focused. Niggas don't like me, I notice. 650 with the coldest. Murder cap, nigga no cap. I'm tryna hit him with boulders. I'm mixing some rock with the Bel Air. I'm killing myself, but I don't care. I feel like a self-made millionaire. I ain't got it yet, but I'm getting there. 30 rounds next to my underwear. Glock 24, get him out of there. When you in the streets, ain't no playing fair. Play with the family, take it there. I just drop my nuts on them. Got these niggas mad cause I don't fuck with them. If it ain't about a bag, that I can't fuck with them. Tryna hurt my family, we gon' up on them. Yeah, we gon' up on them. I just drop my nuts on them. Got these niggas mad cause I don't fuck with them. If it ain't about a bag, that I can't fuck with them. Tryna hurt my family, we gon' up on them. Yeah, we gon' up on them.
Straight up, thuggish, roguish bone. Bitch, I'm doper than a crack stone. Money counted in my home. Go it all sound like a fax phone. Government funded, section 8, trapping it off the track phone. I don't take no breaks, re-up right before my sack gone. Shout out my niggas, fishing off the tier, 25 plus years. Needle on the chair, death in their eyes, cold headed y'all stairs. PLR car, NorCal Bear, anything less, I really don't care. You ain't shit without your homeboys, okay, nigga. I got 2 clips, you ain't even gotta share. Niggas gon' see what the doors pop. Pitbull bit on my jaw lock. Bitch, I think I'm Mac Dre, you little bitch, I think I'm Tupac. Can't stop, won't stop feeling myself, no code. Only do the drill myself, niggas acting like it's good. Fucking with the fam, you don't want no time to kill yourself. Shots to a motherfucker face. Put my nuts on your bitch, she ain't hell my dick taste. You ain't talking bag, talk bag up. Give me space, talking reckless on the road, I'm going up. Get it right, little bitch.
I just drop my nuts on them. Got these niggas mad cause I don't fuck with them. If it ain't about a bag, that I can't fuck with them. Tryna hurt my family, we gon' up on them. Yeah, we gon' up on them. I just drop my nuts on them. Got these niggas mad cause I don't fuck with them. If it ain't about a bag, that I can't fuck with them. Tryna hurt my family, we gon' up on them. Yeah, we gon' up on them.
Oh shit, look who it is, it's the white Miles Davis. Feel like Tiger Driver when I'm making payments. When you see me, you was posted with the layman's. When I see you, you ain't say shit. You be like Richard Swift performing dope man for second placements. Still flooding basements, and I'll be on that 22 Dr. Scott winner trying to beat the K shit while on vacation. And the beat was on the track, he tell your ass to stop complaining and find a new occupation. And he don't be on that gay shit like the Warrior. When I come out and play, I do it with my nose. White people hate me more than they love avocado toast. I don't wear no fucking designer clothes. I'm bopping to Paris, but not before I Lacey Connor hose.
I got that.
Yeah,
I got that Sunny D for your ass.
it's nasty. I'm a lyrical lethal weapon. I'm Danny Glover in this bitch. I'm too old for this shit. Bitch with two cooler lips. I will snatch your bitch, then snatch her soul. Will I give it back? Well, who knows? It all really depends on how the game goes. If it's all in my favor, then she too will grow. I take my pimping real seriously just to let you know. And if you don't know, bitch, now you know. Don't talk to me about nothing but about some cash flow. Yeah, young blood, all I got for a bitch is hard digging bubblegum. Wait, hold on. Fuck, I'm all out of bubblegum. You know what I'm saying? These bitches come a dime a fucking dozen. That's why you keep a dollar in your motherfucking pocket, young blood.
One time for your son.
Yeah, I'm off the drugs. Yeah, I'm high as fuck. Dog up in my cup. That shit got me up. Chillin' with the gang. Gun all you can hang. Fuck the fucking system. Free my niggas, hey. Yeah, I'm off the drugs. Yeah, I'm high as fuck. you can't hang. Fuck the fucking system. Bring my niggas, ayy. I said fuck the system, ayy. Nigga got a problem, boy, I'll pull up where you stay. Niggas all up in my way, merging in my lane. Took off in that Yoda, yeah, I just did the race. All these niggas fake, all these bitches snake. All they want is cake, that's why I stay away. And I'm tryna run it up, just get rich with me. Yo, bitch wanna fuck, I told her, wait a minute, man. Yeah, I'm off the drugs, yeah, I'm high as fuck. Dog up in my cup, that shit got me up. Chillin' with the gang, and now you can't hang. Fuck the fucking system, and my niggas, ayy. Yeah, I'm off the drugs, yeah, I'm high as fuck. Dog up in my cup, that shit got me up. Chillin' with my gang, and now you can't hang. Fuck the fucking system, bring my niggas, ayy. Bring my niggas, ayy. When I'm in the booth, so man, I'm so screwed. Yo, bitch is a truth. She blew me through my boots. In the miracle, made it through the crew. She do what she do, then she get the boot.
I be seeing signs every time I cross the line. When you cross my mind, then I know better. But body don't do me no better. Felt that it betrayed me, like lately it pains me to part legs like it did to part ways. Over 30-day notice to pack. All we created in our fiction, in fact, both hated and both relapsed. Trapped in the cycle of the spirit of the spiral. Who knows the pain like I do? My partner in creation, parting ourselves to make this situation without healing. Involuntarily dead our animation without killing. Didn't come without no crying, didn't come without no sirens. Like voices in the silence. What is spirit trying to say? About the foundation I lay and the power it don't take to do without meaning to make. Power it don't take to do without meaning to make. A good bully teach what you ain't learned fully. Learn the lesson so hard it left a scar. A good bully teach what you ain't learned fully. Learn this lesson so deep it won't repeat. A good bully teach what you ain't learned fully. Learn the lesson so hard it left a scar. A good bully teach what you ain't learned fully. Learn this lesson so deep it won't repeat.
Nothing worse than sharing kids with a dysfunctional bitch. She'll try her best to hold them hostage on some torture and shit. Parental alienation, current abomination. No different than master selling an infant from off the plantation. What possesses you to be like Satan? What afflictions have you picked me for tormenting? Codependent maybe from generational trauma. Never in life did I expect to have a crazy baby mama. I preferred a wife raising my daughter without drama. But those must be fairy tales when you are from the bottom. Often our deepest scars come from wolf in sheep clothing. Lurking to take advantage of your heart and leave it broken. I pray for every victim of abusive narcissism not to overlook their pain. Yeah, and hopefully you learned a lot from that good bully, so it never happens again.
A good bully teach what you ain't learned fully. Learn the lesson so hard it left a scar. A good bully teach what you ain't learned fully. Learn this lesson so deep it won't repeat. A good bully teach what you ain't learned fully. Learn the lesson so hard it left a scar. A good bully teach what you ain't learned fully. Learn this lesson so deep it won't repeat.
More shocking than the EKG. Young Kilo G, yeah, you know me. be Thor with the master key. Doors stay on the floor, cause I've been low key. I'm the hometown hero. I am hard as a spear throw. Fly as a paratroop, jumping straight in your ear hole. If you don't use your ears, what the heck is you here for? I could die if I cry, but I won't shed a tear though. How you stop a black man from voting? Jail. Send him there with no knowledge of self. Create schools that are more like cells. Destroy his manhood and he surely will fail. Harder than Braille, hard to swallow like kale. Man, I know myself and I know very well. Aim like William Tell, that's if you can tell. Man, I'm flow so hot, I burn the devil in hell. Blowing like CB4, still on E14. The game want my soul, my brother's still on parole. I told my mama I don't do what I'm told, I just do what I know. Amaranth from the way that I grow. One ring like Frodo, around the world like a yo-yo. Boy, I stay in the dojo, and they can't take my mojo. Man, the flow is for loco, evil like Mojo Jojo. No coon like Domo, freestyle pro bono. Caliber like Gallagher, with my Excalibur. This the Final Fantasy, hit fools with my Magica. Shoot like Gallagher, crawl like Tarantula. I'm the main character, and there is that Brannigan. Internet was made by a black man. I'm not Al Gore, I'm that man. Sealing sucker's face with the fat man. Hard to kill like a samurai on his last stand. With his last hand in the last dance. It's your last chance. Think in advance before you die. Truth or lies, no alibis. This is the present moment, don't be surprised. And still I rise, like I raise your vibe. Percolate your mind when I step inside. I'm so dang wet, my name is Slip and Slide. I'm a lion pride, and I just let that ride.
Got a craving, better feed it like a pregnant woman. See my music giving birth emotions from the womb. It's like it's healing elixir if your soul was wounded. Better believe in what you hear, just like a wiki rumor. I got drums for your ears, I got spit for your tears. I got vision, it's clear. I have nothing to fear. I'm gonna always be here. We gon' always be here. Like King Hugh with his spear. Like a pyramid scheme, I ain't been building my team. We ain't been chasing a dream. I be planning it out. We be calling the shots. This ain't checkers to me. You ain't checking this queen. We ain't come from a lot, but we all that we got. You got ice in your veins, my flow making it hot. They been looking for change, put the dollar in the slot. Then I'ma give the people exactly what the funk they want. Cause right now they don't know exactly what the funk they got. If you not down with my clique, then you just candy on a stick. I said if you not down with my clique, then you just candy on a stick. I said if you're not down with my clique, then you just candy on a stick. Yo, if you not down with my clique, then you just candy on a stick. I should've copped the attitude a long time ago. Had a rocky road, everybody always throwing stones. Won't throw you no rope unless they hoping you gon' choke. Quick to get a 2 cents, but wouldn't get a homeless man a stone. They cute to be petty, your whole spirit is ugly. You obsessed with the bank, while your character bummy. What your butt by your belt? I bought a crib with my money. Trust me, we all know that you the queen bee, honey. Bunch of used to be's wannabes, tryna be's gonna be's. Nothing like bumblebees. Need to be humble, be when I rap, no mumbling. Did you catch me? You're fumbling. Don't drop the ball as you focus the juggling. Hard-headed and going and don't get stuck like collagen. Allergic to faking, you been rolling and pollen, huh? I spit real, you get nervous and swallow it. But you can catch my fade while my homies I be hollering. If you not down with my clique, then you just candy on a stick. I said if you not down with my clique, then you just candy on a stick. I said if you're not down with my clique, then you just candy on a stick. Yo, if you not down with my clique, then you just candy on a stick. Finally, you get a female who's high, acting more like Queen of Sheba than a basketball wife, acting more like Sister Soldier than a Barbie or guy. Nothing plastic, all organic, keep it green Cali life. Birthplace of the Panthers, the land of the scammers, the young and the restless, them wild and westerns, all flipping investors, or verbal finesses, or angry protesters. In Oscar Grand Plaza, me President Nada, me Casa Casa. Unless your name Milo, Betsy Coulter, Spencer. They think I'm a snowflake, I'm cold like December. My feelings like Frisco, a permanent winter. They thinking we petty, like we don't remember. Ain't you rushed the stage of NWA? How ironic, you hate hippies who needed a safe space. not complain cause nobody wanna hear what you gon' say. If you not down with my clique, then you just candy on a stick. I said if you not down with my clique, then you just candy on a stick. I said if you're not down with my clique, then you just candy on a stick. Yo, if you not down with my clique, then you just candy on a stick. I'm a piranha in bay waters dropping hooks though. Just on this song, going fishing on my fourth floor. Neck look like a ski slope, slap it like a speedboat. Keep the family real close, circle like a people. Hear ye, hear me, people. I come as your equal. That dish that they serve doesn't equate to fecal. If you want a sequel, then beat your own hero. Save them like you guys, son. Choose your pill, Neo. I'm a beat bully, and this song has been deeper. You ain't pay your dues, so that top spot been repo. The drought is over, baby, so let's bounce for El Nino. Don't get ran over, baby. Flow like a steamroll. Flow like a sink, yo. Flow like a stream, yo. Flow like your first pad, 13 years old. Don't copy no more kinkles. Hating give you wrinkles. You just throwing salt while them real players sprinkle.
Ladies and gentlemen, you're now about to witness the elite. Go ahead, light up the cigar, take that crown run.
It feels nice, place your bet, grab your dice, let's roll. Grab your honey Dutchie, stuff it up, let's roll. Suck low, so cold my pimp stroll. Two-stepping froze like I'm an Eskimo. Back on top of the globe, let the money fold. Put it in that money clip. The grabbers in that purple bag to keep the cigar lit. I'm a grown-ass man, so please dismiss me with that bullshit. We got them sticks stashed below the door panel. It ain't nothing that the mob can't handle. Float on, what goes on, we chasing chick. Deep fried, up and bake as long as it's fingerless. Positively in position, please don't put the shade on me. It's Shady Nation, that's the way it's gonna be. Brody Logan's got the block in the chokehold. With Uzi Mackin for sure, we gon' let it roll.
They say I do too much, but this is the way I grew up. I'm surprised that I made it. They talking, but they never knew us. Look what the streets did to us. That's why we get faded.
I ran the light on Adeline and 18th, about to form a report. Pulled up to Hammond though tonight, my niggas drinking dark. Give me a gallon of Henny and a 2-liter Sprite. Styrofoam cups, a bag of ice, and 2 pair of dice. Saturday night, we in the hood, action camera lights. Yeah, I'm good in my hood, but I still grip the hammer tight. I keep my hammer close, cause niggas do the most. Wanna put me to the test with shit, I'm glad I took some notes. But now look at your folks, they say dude is a rat. I seen the black and white on Rat Facts, how you explain that? I brought the gang back, MOE is the letters. We hot as the sun in the summer, wearing 3 sweaters. Plus a Wilson leather, down to kill for the cheddar. It's DOC with me, no one can do it better. I got a letter from my road dog, written in blood, saying please show a player love, but don't show them haters love.
They say I do too much, but this is the way I grew up. I'm surprised that I made it. They talking, but they never knew us. Look what the streets did to us. That's why we get faded.
If you know me, you owe me. I'm pulling up on my lonely. Last thing I need is a Cody. I'd rather slide to the net. Don't talk about it, just show me. I see the fake and the phony. I'm from a place where my cronies are killing, die for respect. And switching sides for attention and not to mention chicken. Niggas fat saving bitches and boyfriend flipping. I'm just like Tyson with pigeons, said he be bird flipping. I came a long way from whipping on top of curves pitching. If it's too hot, then get your bitch ass up out of the kitchen. I'm from the trenches, ain't no 401k and no pension. Swinging for the penny, trying to hit a grand slam. Loud in the trunk, bitch, kicking like it's Van Damme. How you a drug lord, you ain't so damn grim. You just a worker, ain't even the man next to the man. Traumatized from all the drama niggas been through. That's why nigga game sharper than the end. So they say I do too much, but look what the streets did to us. Surprised that I made it. They say say I do, they say I do too. But look at the way I grew up, surprised that I made.
It's that time. You in the building?
Yeah, I am.
What up, Anna?
What's up, Roselle? How you doing?
Good.
Good. Good. Just making sure I got my live going. Yes, hello. Welcome everybody. Welcome to Global History Radio. We go over, okay, cool. I'm live, it's public, here we go. Awesome, okay. So yeah. So we've been off for a week or two. Did you have a good time off?
Yes,
I can't hear you.
I was talking on my phone. That was kind of funny.
Did you have a good time off?
Oh, yes, I did.
Good.
Definitely.
Good. Well needed, I am sure. Meanwhile, in the world and in Vallejo, shit.
Vallejo sucks. Vallejo just sucks right now.
Okay,
Vallejo really sucks, dude, right now. I hate to say it, it does.
Can you speak up a little bit and tell us about it?
Yeah, hold on. Let me turn it up. I don't think you hear me. Can you hear me a bit better?
Yeah, I can hear you now. Yeah.
I said Vallejo sucks.
What happened?
Ooh, man. My car got broken into. Oh my gosh.
Right.
The only light to it is I have AAA. So AAA, no props to you.
I knew this was going to get back to
Anna's Historical Podcast Radio AAA. So
I want some fucking
give you kudos.
I want sponsorship from AAA. Yeah. Yeah. Let's approach them about sponsoring the show, because you give about the best plugs for AAA.
I'm trying to do you know they already fixed the glass? The glass is fixed.
Good.
Like, you know, I mean, they did it quick. They was quick about it. They were working on the other stuff because I had to get a police report and I had to write down what was taking out the car and all that stuff. So I did all that. So once they get the police report, the lady's gonna reimburse me for that stuff too.
Good. When my house was broken into, it was such a pain because they want you to find receipts for everything. Sucked.
Yeah.
Did they try and get that stuff from you?
No, they didn't say anything.
Oh, that's good. That's good. They try. I mean, it's so lame. They try and I had to get receipts, and then there was stuff. Yeah. When the house was broken into, I was just so mad because all I had at the time was, I just had a little laptop. This was bad. I was mad because I didn't have enough expensive stuff to steal. So I was trying to like make up stuff because I wanted to at least get the money back to cover all I'd been paying for fucking insurance in the first place.
Right. So what happened?
Yeah.
What happened? Yeah. What wound up happening? What happened?
Oh, well, it was fucking crazy.
Did you get all the money? Did you get your money, or did they not?
Yeah. And I did, and I can't even I can't even remember what it all was. At the time, particularly, it was just this period of my life where everything was really chaotic, and
right.
I just was having everything was complicated, and I was just. At the time, I think I had a MacBook Air that was probably worth about $600 or something. Because, some stuff degrades in value so fast, they give you the value of what it's worth now, not what you paid for it. So it can still really suck. My roommate at the time, it was my house. He was he was the tenant. So he had renter's insurance, but he got a lot, but he had a job where he got tips, and he had a bunch of cash laying around that got ripped off. So he didn't get much. So he lost that, but he had tools and kind of some expensive stuff. He also had a loaded handgun, and I was really upset about that because there's just this sort of concept like, it wasn't my fault that the house got broken into, but I just felt terrible because I knew who it was. I could tell exactly. It had been, I could see where they climbed the back fence and tromped through the glass, and there were teenagers next door to me that had tons and tons of friends going by. So I knew it was some of them. Not the kids that lived there, but kids they knew. So I was like, well, one of them, the kids was like hanging out in front when I came back, and you could tell he was, the kid that lived, it wasn't their fault. I know they wouldn't, what are they going to do? So, but that was just kind of uncomfortable. And I was just asking all around in the neighborhood. I was like, okay, if somebody returns that gun to me, I'll like pay him some money, because I felt terrible that a loaded handgun was getting in the hands of what would have been young people. And it was so, I got some money back. I claimed that I'd had like skis and stuff stolen. So So did you need to go through and like itemize everything you were missing? And
well, technically I have certain things that I know I have in there.
Yeah.
It was easy for me. I didn't have to, it's not like it was my house. I can see where your house will be harder. Your car, you know how I was. Like that was kind of my DJ car. So some stuff I would keep in there.
Yeah.
And so I knew what I had in there, and it was actually easy. So
yeah.
you know,
Okay, right. So it's covered under your auto insurance, not your renter's insurance.
no, it's covered under my renter's insurance.
Oh,
It's
okay.
weird, I know. It don't make sense, but it is. I thought it was gonna be covered under the auto, but they told me that your renter's insurance covers it.
Yeah,
So
well, that makes sense because I mean, if the auto insurance, I mean, they're just going to pay for the car. They don't want to pay if you had a bunch of just expensive stuff sitting in your car, they wouldn't,
right.
So yeah, good old Vallejo, man. And it was on I mean, it was like it was on a really busy street. Oh, wait, what happened with didn't you find some information about them in the car?
Yes. Whoever was in there had issues, man. I think they was a drug addict or something because they left vials. They left some kind of weird tester. You know how like when you have to, like the person was on parole when you have to pee inside of something. It looks like that's what they left in there, and they left their card.
Oh my God.
So I don't, you know what I'm saying? So, we're gonna just see what happens on this one. But yeah, it's like wow. So, and they were good. They were good. They didn't even open the door. They kind of just broke the windows and pulled the stuff out through the window.
Yeah.
That's why I think they didn't get more than what they probably could have gotten.
Yeah.
Because they tried to do it quick and maybe they got seen or something. I don't know what happened, but
yeah. Yeah, there's a lot of windows getting broken downtown, windows of stores, and yeah, well, that sucks. I'm glad you're getting it covered. And
oh yeah. So yeah, it's good. You know what I'm saying? I'm not tripping too bad because it doesn't happen. It's been here a while. It has happened before when I first moved here.
Yeah.
But overall, it hasn't happened a lot. So I'm kind of like, so I just got to readjust some things and work around what went down. So
yeah, I mean, some stuff it's frustrating, but I mean, I've had my car window busted a couple times, and I mean, it's just kind of, if you live in a city, it's just gonna happen. So
exactly.
So yeah. Well, so since we didn't have a show, Vallejo is having all this drama about the police station, which we've talked about here before. It's been going on forever. The current police station is falling apart. It's so they need a new building, which isn't really disputed by anyone because it's falling apart. And so, I mean, it's disputed by people that believe that there shouldn't be police at all. But so what the city did a couple of years ago was purchase a building on the waterfront that they want to turn into the police station, which is just weird. Like, I mean, people are saying like, oh, well, it'll look terrible to tourists. I mean, I don't think tourists care, but I mean, why would you want to there's so much other things you could do with waterfront property, and with the way, like, it just seems like it should be if a cop station should be centrally located, because this way, oh man, Georgia streets. See, we live on the street. Georgia Street's going to suck because then you're going to have all the cops would be coming to work there, and then all driving up the same streets to go on their beats. It just doesn't make sense at all. And they're going to it was an expensive building. Well, an expensive building, but they're going to have to do all this retrofitting anyway, because I guess, police departments need to be like, bulletproof and stuff like that. So that's been a struggle in Vallejo for a while. And for 3 years, it just amazes me. How can stuff go on for that long? It's just ridiculous. But so what they finally agreed to do was put it on hold and do a community survey asking people for suggestions about other places. And I don't think that that is a good solution, because when you're talking about housing a, with government, a big agency or organization, there's just a whole lot of considerations that the average citizen is not going to know about. You're going to, building requirements and zoning and all of that. Like for the longest time, there's a lot of empty buildings in Vallejo. So different people are always coming up with suggestions like, well, why can't the cops go there? Why can't the cops go there? And a lot of times there's reasons. So that's not, you want people, there's people that are paid to figure some of that stuff out. So what I also don't like is that it is all taking place online. And they're having community meetings about the police station, which are only being publicized online, which, so far as I'm concerned, that means that the people that are on social media all the time, who are always talking about this stuff anyway, are the only ones going to these meetings to weigh in. Like when I saw one of the meetings, I'm like, yeah, everybody here has already expressed their opinion. And so you just have a whole bunch of people who are not on social media, and they're citizens too. And so I was down, they had a booth down at the farmer's market, and I was asking them about it. And people, I'm just like, okay, people, don't try and just say no. I was asking about it, and so somebody said like, well, it's going to be posted here. And I said, it's going to be on Nextdoor. And I said, like, I'm asking you about other places other than online. And this guy's like, are you trying to trick me? And I'm like, no, I just care. So I wrote to all the city council people saying it is undemocratic not to send out mailers. And there's people complaining about the expense of mailing stuff. Well, I mean, they're spending thousands. It all costs money. And so, yeah, I was talking about that with my friend that's the secretary for the NAACP, because they were people. A lot of people's emails are bouncing back, so they're trying to try and like get together and put together like, okay, who's still in it and all of that. And some people didn't want to send out mailers. And my friend that's the secretary, we were talking about, we agreed, like, yeah, we're gonna send out mailers because there's people that don't use their email. And a lot of the time that's particularly, I was like, well, shit, for that. I mean, again, I'm talking about two different things, but for the NAACP, I mean, a lot of people that enroll there are older, and the same with the city. And I mean, it's less and less of an age thing. I mean, some people just aren't online, so yeah. So I heard back from a couple of them, and I just think that's wrong. It's just spreading this out and getting opinions from the same people that have been giving their opinions. And I mean, I guess like at the current police station, the pipes are corroded and there's no place to sleep for people, I mean, for guys that are like pulling long shifts or something. So yes, that's Vallejo. This is the first year. No, this is the second year that Vallejo is having district elections, because you're in District 4 or 5. I'm not sure which, but so 2 years ago, I didn't get to vote for. Do you remember if last election, if you had city council candidates on your ballot? Okay. I withdraw the question.
Into that.
I withdraw the question.
I'll talk to you about that later.
Okay, I withdraw the question. So so last year last election I didn't get to vote for any city council candidates, and this time I will. I don't like any of the people who are running in my district. The idea is, if you have citywide elections, then you're campaigning in a group of 120,000 people, but split into districts, then you're maybe campaigning for 40,000 people, or something like that. So the idea is that it will make it possible for more people to campaign for office if they have a smaller area to cover. And I agree with that part. I don't like this. I don't like that you're confined in a certain area to vote, because my concerns have nothing to, there's this idea, people are like, okay, well, I represent South Vallejo, I represent North Vallejo, and I'm like, that doesn't make any difference. I mean, the issues I care about are citywide, and I don't care anymore about the neighborhood I live in than other neighborhoods. And I don't even like that idea of looking at things when you're looking at parks and safety and stuff like that. I am going to look at the issues where it's important. It doesn't have to affect me personally. So yeah, I'm also staying quiet because I know that this year there's going to be people, even with fewer elections, the people that don't have, I know people are going to be getting on my ass about candidates, and I don't want them to. So, okay, speaking of candidates, we got somebody pretty fucking cool who I met on, Demlis Johnson from Richmond. Okay, wait, I'm trying to get this to show up. And I met him at a Democrat so there's a new congressional district from the census. And so we now have, it's hard for me to, what happened was, like, Vallejo is now represented by a different Congress member than we were before. They kind of switched, but now both Congress members need to run again. I'm not even sure if it has to do with the population getting bigger. It was just redrawn. But anyway, it is a primary. So it's a new congressional district, District 8. And so Demlis is a younger guy. He's from 4 generations. His family's been in Richmond for 4 generations. So to me, that makes a really big difference, because I feel like if somebody's that so rooted in the community wants to improve the community, they have the motivation and they have the knowledge. And he's on the city council of Richmond, and he's been on commissions, and he's, college graduate. He's working on a master's degree in like public policy, something like that. So, I mean, he has the qualifications to do the job. I mean, I wouldn't vote for somebody just because they're, I wouldn't vote for just anybody jumping in there because of their, because of them having been there. But the combination of his professional experience and education with the personal drive and passion that somebody feels, to me, that's just marvelous. So yes, yeah. And I met him at a Zoom meeting for the Community Democratic Club. And so I came on the Zoom meeting and this person greeted me. And I was like, wait, who just said that? Is this somebody I know? And I realized it was him. He'd never met me before, but he was, so to me that says, okay, that's a really good quality for an office holder to have, somebody that pays attention and engages. And then he had a really great collection of books on his shelf, that books that I like. So that was a big thing. And a lot of politicians, when you ask them something, they'll just go off on the spiel that has nothing to do with all this like blah, blah, vague stuff. They all say the same stuff. I asked him a question that was specific and he gave me an answer. He paid attention and he answered my question. I asked him, because this is kind of what I was trying to figure out, if he was just somebody like that's all a bunch of slogans, or if he was really thinking ahead and if he had real plans. So I asked him which committees he was interested in being on and whether he had a network there in Washington for support and being with the people that could, help him with connections and all of that as a new Congress member. So yeah, so he had really good answers for that. And so I went down to the farmer's market last weekend and got a t-shirt and was chatting with Demlis and some of us and his campaign people. So yeah, I definitely want to help his campaign. I just think it would be awesome to, one of the campaign people was saying to me like, oh yeah, and there are these old people that are real stuck in their ways. And I was like, well, that in itself isn't a good reason. I mean, if somebody because if you're older and still engaged and productive and doing stuff, then I'm like, no, that's not, you shouldn't just step aside for other people. But if people are, yeah. So that was cool. It was very cool. I'll give you information about him.
Nice.
Yeah. I mean, he just had, he just has really, there's somebody like, when you talk about, he's worked in the schools, he has support from the unions, just real varied life experience and professional experience. So yes, so Demlis for Congress. And then I have some social media going for my friend Sharon Henry that's running for district attorney. And that is rough because she's got the whole fucking county to try and win. And she's running against an incumbent, which is really hard. The incumbent got some major endorsements. And I mean, Sharon's like the assistant DA, so she can't, she's got a full-time job, so she can't do any, so there's not much, she's kind of just stuck on the weekend. So that's just really, really hard. And yeah, I think she's an awesome person and would do a great job. I'd really like to see her do it, but I'm not super optimistic. Anybody listening? Don't tell her I said so. Okay, so Vallejo. Okay, my brother is in Saudi Arabia.
Oh, how does he like it down there? How is it?
Okay, so he's there for conference about social media, and I was just like messing with them. But okay, today I get a fucking message from him, text message that he sent to a bunch of people with a picture of him with MBS. That's Mohammed bin Salman. Yeah, thank you. Did
he ride the camel?
I don't know. I don't know yet. I'll have to ask him. But Mohammed bin Salman, the crown prince of Saudi Arabia, is fucking bloodthirsty. I mean, he's a terrible person. And so one of somebody else on the text message was saying like, well, watch out for chainsaws. He's the one that ordered this journalist to be chopped up into pieces, and he did this to a public figure. So, I mean, Saudi Arabia has a terrible human rights record. Mohammed bin Salman has made trips to the United States. He likes to come across as somewhat more progressive than other people. I mean, women are now allowed to drive, and they're now allowed to travel without a man. So, I mean, every place is different, so that counts for something. But I mean, Saudi Arabia just carried out a public execution of 78 people last week. So yeah, my brother was like saying, I just couldn't fucking believe it. I'll have to send. Oh wait, I'll send you the picture. Okay, yeah, he's his friend had said like, watch out for hidden chainsaws, and my brother's like, it's not like that. People are very cool. We're related. We're both Semites. I'm thinking like, okay, that logic just does not appeal. So I just put down, I agree with Phil, his friend. Like, no way. How can you? I mean, like, of course you can't be rude to him, but you don't need to be friendly. But yeah, I'll be real curious to find out what the trip was like. He's debating somebody from one of the social media companies, so I'm hoping there's video of that. So I was in a really interesting Zoom discussion today at there's a book club for the Pauli Murray Center, and once a month, and it's on Zoom. And so the book that we were reading, and it's split up into two parts. It was like the first half today, and the next part other month, is a book I read 2 years ago by Stephanie Jones Rogers, and it's called They Were Her Property: White Women in the Slaveholding South. And it is about the role that white women played in slavery. And I read the book when I've talked about it on the show before. I first read it when it came out in 2019, and I had invited Amani, who was really interested in coming, and so she was going to come on the show next week to talk about it, but she wasn't there today. They're on East Coast time, so I mean, for them so the Zoom meeting is 3:30 in the afternoon our time, which is pretty tricky time to make it. So hopefully she can make it to a different one. And so I was really excited to meet Stephanie Jones Rogers, and I just really, when I read the book, I really wanted to talk to people about it. It's kind of, it doesn't surprise me that women can be as racist as men, and as cruel, as racist, as immoral. So it was more, what she did was go back and read. Well, I mean, there was a tremendous amount of research, but it was from her work that I learned about the WPN, the works progress during the 1930s. There was, as part of the economic recovery plan, people were paid for all sorts of cultural projects. There was a lot of theater, art. That's when a lot of art was created there. And people who had been enslaved were interviewed. There's a huge collection, an oral history of formerly enslaved people. And they were elderly by the 1930s. And people had, there hasn't, so historians of slavery, of course they've used it, but the accounts, the personal accounts of people that lived through it are not always used by historians. A lot of time they're going to be using more official information or something. So she really used that, and those were the accounts by people of women in the household who would be carrying out, punishments. And I mean, because at one point it was in a lot of places, when a woman got married, her husband owned everything, but that was not the case with enslaved people. There were legal mechanisms that families would do in order for their daughters to retain these claims. So that's why it is, because there's people who will think there's this idea that like, well, oh, women didn't have much control over this because women weren't the property owners, women weren't the landowners, but that wasn't true. So that's one of the things that Professor Jones Rogers explains, that and she also just explains how I guess it's capitalism too, just how children were taught how to treat enslaved people from the time they were very young. And so when you look at history, so when we talk about systemic systems and structure and white supremacy, that's one of the ways to understand it, that when parents have this belief system, they pass it on. They are invested in maintaining their white supremacy. So yeah. So I was very excited to meet her. It was a big group of people. I was one of only 2 people that called her Professor Jones Rogers. Everybody was calling her, "Oh, Stephanie." Like, man, do people not know how to act? It's pretty. She had 7 figures of student loans by the time she got her doctorate. Getting her doctor, and she began it as, she worked on it for 10 years. She began it as a thesis, and her dedication is just, it takes a long time to become a professor of history. And so when I look at somebody that has sacrificed I just, her passion just amazes me, that somebody like that, who's that smart and that capable, could have probably chosen a different path and made a whole lot of money. And so she just has real dedication for what she does. And so I asked her about her research process, because since I work with archives, I was really interested in that. And she did a lot of traveling. When you do a book like this, you're going to need to travel all over the place to small community archives, like, in order to learn. It's just one of the reasons I like archiving so much. Okay, because like her book explains how white women benefited particularly or specifically from slavery because of these clauses and legal things and all of that could happen before they were married. Like, some families would leave their sons land and their daughters human beings. And so so that's kind of why it needs to be understood when you're looking at history in that respect. It's not just looking at like, well, yes, women were part of a white supremacist system. Women had a unique part of this white supremacist system. So in order to come up with that idea, so that, and with that thesis, with that explanation, with that idea, so that people like me can just read the book and say, oh, she has to look at hundreds of documents, these documents like wills and documents of sale. So it's just, that's why I like archiving, because I don't have the patience to do that sort of research, but I love history. So like, I'm working on a project right now at a different archive. Just basically, some of the stuff you're doing is just labeling so that a researcher can come along and look at this stuff for their work. So that it's just amazing. I could listen to her talk about that all day. And so that's why, that's just the interesting thing about our things. So it's information that you just don't know how it will be useful. You don't know what somebody will be trying to figure out, but you know it's something, and you have to try and make sure that the material is there and properly cataloged or indexed or whatever, so that people can find it. So I asked her what the reception to her was when she went to these archives. She had to do a whole lot of research in Louisiana, and she said it's also just, I told her I read the book in 2019 when it came out, and a couple of other people in the group had as well. And it's really great to meet an author and be able to tell them that directly, and especially a professor, because a lot of what they do is going to be with other professors, so they don't always get to hear from their readers as much. I don't know. Everybody's different. So I just admire the book so much. It was really cool to meet her. And so she said that, I said, like, was it good, bad, was it mixed? And she said that most people were very supportive and helpful, but that she was in that there was one particular archivist who would just be like breathing down her neck and like interrogating her about why she wanted stuff, and kept pointing out to her challenge with how much it would cost to get certain records. I was like, wow, what a great. And she said, yeah, it was mixed. I was like, oh, wow, I would love to hear more stories about that, because I mean, it's just pretty remarkable. And I mean, it's just such a, I mean, she needs to, like, in order to write a book like that, she needs to raise the money to travel, which means it's just so much work to try and get grants and just to do this. And that the narratives of former enslaved people, I believe they're online. I was reminded of it recently. This is kind of, well, this is how I wound up inviting Imani on a discussion for on the Sum of Man podcast. I can't even remember how it came up, but I told Imani that I was like, yeah, there's all these records from people. So I'd sent her that. So yeah. And it's just amazing to me that and it was all like, these recordings were made starting in the early 1930s, and in many situations the people doing the recording came from families that had enslaved people. And so they were talking to people that had been enslaved, where they would have had, like, okay, well, grandma or grandpa could have been an enslaver. And it's just amazing. I mean, I mean, it takes, that takes guts. I mean, on all sides, you know. I mean, I'm always like, whoa, if my grandparent had done something terrible, I mean, I don't know if I would, for me to go and document the person who had experienced it. I mean, fuck, it could have been the parent. I mean, so yeah, it's a pretty incredible project, and it's just so important to get the and that when, like, I mean, I'm somewhat more familiar because, I mean, you know, I mean, there's still Holocaust survivors, and there were Holocaust survivors who never wanted to talk about what happened. And so that's what happened to them. And then, so that certainly would have been the case with people who had been enslaved. But then there's also people that chose to tell those stories, to tell what happened to them, so that we could learn from them. And it's just pretty fucking amazing. It's just so, I don't know. I mean, I think there were probably some situations, maybe people would feel better talking about stuff, but I think a lot of the time, but sometimes talking about stuff can make you feel worse. And again, I mean, I'm not going to go too far, so speculate too much about, I mean, there's all sorts of different cultural attitudes and family attitudes about talking about trauma and horror. And so from what I've read, I mean, there were some situations where the children of these people that were being recorded didn't want them to do it. So, you know, then there would have been some. So yeah, I mean, it's pretty remarkable. And I mean, it reminds me, I mean, I've done some recordings of elders, and it reminds me to just keep doing that. Well, like at one of the at one of the Bayard Rustin symposiums, one of the elders was talking about her experience under segregation, and then her son said that he'd never even heard it before because she had never wanted to talk about it because it was too painful, but kind of it was just different to do it in a public place. So save that history, people, get those stories down, find stuff out. And there's also really, there were, and here's something that I think takes bravery. I mean, there were a couple white people in the group who said that they had done genealogy and found out that they had ancestors who enslaved people. And Jesus, I mean, that's it takes guts to say that. Yeah, it takes guts to say that in a room full of people. I mean, I admire them for that. And then then this other woman was saying, she's going like, oh, well, yeah, and we all grew up with this Gone with the Wind idea of women being sort of helpless. And I'm just thinking like, can you just speak from your own perspective? Because I most certainly did not grow up like that. And then she's going like, and I do a lot of work with the 1619 project and educating people. And I'm thinking like, well, I hope you do a better job expressing. I can't stand it when people, we all grew up, we like, just don't either say me or I never do. I say people. When I'm making general statements, I just say people. I don't say we. I mean, if I say we, I am very specifically talking about myself and other people. It's specific. It's not just a vague we. So
I'm not gonna lie though, on terminology.
Can you speak up, please?
On terminology, on situations of terminology.
Yeah.
I do the same thing. I think sometimes when people may say we, they may mean people, but they're not saying people.
Oh, I know.
And I think sometimes, depending on who the person is or how they are, because I know I do that with people, and sometimes not that necessarily, but I'll say certain things, but it'll sound a certain way to different people.
Well, yeah, I know. I mean, you say people. You say people.
I'm not talking about that as person, but sometimes there are people that may say we. I know people who will say we. There are some people that will say people, and I get we, and I understand from the context of whatever the topic is, if they're talking about people, or if they're talking about we as in them and the people around them type.
Yeah, it's true. We all express ourselves differently. I don't really appreciate people doing that when they're talking about growing up with Gone with the Wind. So, yeah, definitely. And I mean, I try not to be too judgmental about how people express themselves there were a lot more people in that particular book group than there usually are. So, I mean, I was really pleased that many people were willing to, read the book and come discuss it, because it was a very scary book, very intense book. So, okay, want to take a break?
I'm down. Let's do it.
Okay, back in a little bit, everybody.
I'm trying to get you off my mind. I'm trying to get you off my mind. I'm trying to get you off my mind. Instead, I'm just wasting my time. If I try to get you on the line, I know I'll be wasting my time. And I get you up out of my head. I just remember the times. I just be stuck on rewind. No, I'm just wasting my time. I just be wasting my time. I just be wasting my time. I just be wasting my time. just be wasting my time. Can I get you up out of my head? I just remember the times. I just be stuck on rewind. No, I'm just wasting my time. Before I get out of my past, I was so foolish to take it with last. Stuck on my mind, but you're not coming back. What was I thinking? Didn't know how to act. Running the streets with my dogs in the pack. Late midnight runs, I was getting the snacks. I'm looking crazy, feeling the backlash. You know what you got till you lost what you have. All of your social, calling and texting your mobile. Speaking out, trying to be vocal. See, I'm trying to keep my focus. Stuck in reverse, you all in my brain. Replaying us all over again. I just wanna talk, I'm going insane. Wasting my time, still doing the same. Baby, I'm missing your face. I'm missing you more by the day. I know you said I'd be replaced if I kept making the same mistakes. But this time won't be the case. Cause baby, I know how to change. And it's more.
The mailbox is full. I cannot accept any messages at this time.
I'm trying to get you off my mind. Instead, I'm just wasting my time. If I try to get you on the line, I know I'd be wasting my time. Can I get you up out of my head? I just remember the times. I just be stuck on rewind. No, I'm just wasting my time. I just be 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 wasting my time. Can I get you up out of my head? I just remember the times. I just be stuck on rewind. No, I'm just wasting my time. I just be 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 wasting my time. Can I get you up out of my head? I just remember the times. I just be stuck on rewind. No, I'm just wasting my time.
Yeah. Cause I swear I don't get it. You know, it's like, it's real. They want me to rock the nice chain on the Rolex diamond watch. I don't even rock with the physical like that. I'm trying to tap people back into their souls, you know what I'm saying? It's real. Look, I don't mess with the physical, but if I get to shining, then maybe they'll listen though. Nah, I ain't deviating, I'm still on a mission, bro. Trying to wake the blind, they don't see which way to go. Hey, I don't mess with the physical, I'm just tapping into the soul. Living life on the go. Rabbit hole, it get deep, I'm going as deep as it go. You a fish in the bowl, I'm breaking the code. No Da Vinci, it's Fibonacci. Hit 'em with this knowledge, hit 'em like I'm rap. Gotta keep it humble, no need to get cocky. High frequency, I don't think you can tap it. So I'm here to let you know. God in the flesh, that's for sure. Hold on to your mind, never ever let it go. I'm just trying to build, trying to get it off the flow. Waking people up, time to get in God mode. It's real. Yeah, it's real. Yeah, it's real. I keep it real. Yeah, I keep it real. Yeah, it's real. Keep it 100. Keep it real. Keep it real. Gotta keep it real. Yeah, it's real. Yeah, it's real. I keep it real. I got it. Keep it.
Yeah. Out here flexing like you woke. See straight through you. I don't need no telescope. I don't need your constitution. I don't need your white hope. I don't need your good deeds. Taking hits round for round like I'm Creed. Why you plotting on my essence? Yeah, steady counting on my blessings. Yeah, this ain't equal competition. If you can't keep it real, it's your character and vision. Only follow intuition, state facts. Never like saying shit I gotta take back. Got the kind of vibe that you can't hijack. Me and my crew set. I put that on my zodiac. Yeah, and I keep it wavy. Stay rooted deep so you really can't shade me. Keep my aura clean so your energy don't phase me. Too elevated so my soul can be grave deep.
Yeah, it's real. Yeah, it's real. Yeah, it's real. I keep it real. Yeah, I keep it real. Yeah, it's real. Keep it 100. Keep it 100. Keep it real. Gotta keep it real. Yeah, it's real. Yeah, it's real. I keep it real. I got it. I keep it real.
Yeah, and it's podcast radio and a year.
Yep, I'm here. Who were we just listening to?
That was what's his name? His name is like James Hill. Hold on here. Did you like the song? It's Josh Hill.
Yeah, I did.
Oh, okay. That's actually Trika's people. I think he's out of Sac.
Oh, okay.
He has a few songs. Yeah, man. He's pretty good.
Cool. I wish we didn't need to turn it off on Facebook. Annoying.
Yeah, Facebook is dude cuss words and
well, I know
yourself or anything on Facebook.
Yeah. I mean, they can do that, but they can't keep adults from abusing kids on Facebook. So fuck them. Okay, so I got a few more things to say about Southern Woo-woos. That's I always like when I'm making notes, I always just put down WW for white women. So yeah, the abbreviation now is just Woo-woos. I finally found a book came out called Smashing Statues, and I'd read about it because I heard about it because I'd read several articles by the author, which I've discussed on here. And so she was explaining that that the Civil War memorials were a direct product of reconstruction, because it was people who wanted to, it was an attempt by powerful figures to divert poor white people, to kind of create this fantasy for poor white people, because they kind of felt, poor white people kind of felt like they'd gone to war to protect the interests of rich white people, that's kind of what war is. So they were trying, they wanted, in order to maintain white supremacy, they wanted poor white people to identify with the wealthy people, with the wealthy Southerners. So there were statues of the Southern generals, but what also became much more common was statues of just regular soldiers. They wanted your, man, I got some racial epithets. They wanted your regular old Southern white people to feel like they were important, feel like they had played a role. And so money was raised for these statues through the effort, for many statues, through the efforts of the Daughters of the Confederacy and like the Women's Auxiliary, whatever, of the Ku Klux Klan. Like real specifically, they were the ones that raised money for these statues. And then like in Birmingham, statues were erected in the early 20th century after the United Mine Workers were attempting to the United Mine Workers were an integrated union, and they tried to go down to the South, and people wanted to try to unify people by economic interest. I don't know, there's unity, unity, I mean, collaboration or whatever, I mean, if you're trying to get, collaborate by interests or whatever. So that was why some of those statues were put up. And so what she says is that statues are created to reinforce societal structure. So whatever people in power are trying to maintain and uphold, they're going to make a statue about it. And so then what's happened in the past several years is that she was explaining why it's just so hard to take down a statue. Like it will be, like there will be a state law that it needs to go to a commission, and then it's just real circuitous. So, you know, it's just frustrating, and things should change. I mean, in who we are is change, values change, cultures change, and statues should change too.
I agree with that. I agree.
Yeah. So anyway, so yeah, so apparently it was those ladies that so the ladies that were in Stephanie E. Jones Rogers' book, so that would have been like their daughters trying to keep things as much as possible how they used to be, whatever the fuck that means. Okay, so after over 100 years, the United States finally has a law against lynching.
Wow. So you're telling me there was never a law?
No. There's been, yeah. Shoot, Rizzo, where's your, didn't you have like a little clapping sound effect or something? That's what it would.
You know what? I gotta hook that back. I got a new controller, so I didn't hook that up this time.
Oh, okay.
But I can still have it.
Yeah.
But my question is this though. So what was the penalty for someone who lynched somebody then? If there was no,
it was the idea is to like the way there, well, for one thing, like well, there's been about 200 attempts to put it on the law books. There's been different, okay, like there's hate crime. So if you kill somebody and it's a hate crime, that, okay, yeah, the James Byrd law, I think that established that kind of, so yeah, so there were efforts to designate lynching as a hate crime during the next well, it means like, you know, like, yes, it's illegal to murder somebody, but the way we have battery, the way we have manslaughter, the way we have first-degree murder and second-degree murder, there's different aspects of it. Because you know how like when we were talking about defending guilty people, that would be, you know, like if you were defending a guilty person,
right,
that, like, I mean, in certain cases they would be like, there's additional penalties for something being a hate crime. So it's possible that a defense attorney would be saying, well, yeah, they killed him, but it wasn't a hate crime. You know, like there's special circumstances and stuff. So that's what.
Are they trying to make lynching put under the like as a hate crime? Is that what they're technically trying to do?
That's what it. Okay, that's what it. Yeah, that's what they were trying to do a couple of years ago. Like it's just like the House passed it, but then the Senate voted it down. Okay, in 1900, a Black Republican introduced the first anti-lynching bill in Congress. It was subsequently defeated in a committee. So I don't even think they keep count of like the anti-lynching bill has been defeated about 200 times. That only means the number of times that it's gotten a vote. I don't think anybody even counts something not getting out of committee, because that's something that politicians do all the time if they don't like something, and that's a whole level itself, because something has to go through a committee in order to make it to the floor to even be voted on. And 1918, an anti-lynching bill was introduced, and I think it passed the House, but didn't pass the Senate. I have to look for the specific language for the Emmett Till bill, because yeah, it's illegal to murder, yeah. And so, you could say like, well, supposing we even had a fair justice system, legal system in the first place, if somebody is charged with murder, but I mean, it means that if somebody, like, I was looking at these pictures of the men that killed Emmett Till in court, and they're just like, one of them's like eating something, they're just leaning back, all chill. So yeah, so it means that if that you can charge somebody with murder, but you can also charge them with lynching. So yeah, and God, at one point there was a bill introduced to make it a responsibility for, for sheriffs that prisoners under their custody not be lynched, because that was what happened all the time. I mean, the sheriffs would be in on it and they'd just be like, here you go. So yeah, so Biden just signed it yesterday. So I mean, it's important, but I mean, society has changed. I mean, the way, so, there might, no, I mean, it's not that. So, I mean, basically, oh, one second. Get out of there, Roman, get out. I mean, I think what happened to George Floyd was a lynching. So I don't know. I mean, it's because I don't even want to say like, oh, there's no more lynchings, because that's not true. It's just different. And so, but yeah, I mean, the number it was why, because I was talking about a book I read about going back and finding the about a reporter Roman, going back and finding the people that killed Medgar Evers and another leader whose name I forgot. And okay, wait a minute. It was the so they still need to get out. They still need to, I always wonder if you could, I don't know. I mean, that's partially why I follow cases where they go back and retry somebody. I feel like in a way that makes more of a difference. I mean, they passed the George Floyd bill, but I mean, I just hope that it just really shouldn't take away from the importance of other laws that need to be passed, of other laws and policies. And the way that the anti-lynching bills would be shot down would be what those good old racists always say, oh, it can go to the states. That's always their logic. And so and I've talked about it, I particularly talked about it, like Helen Gahagan Douglas, who was who was in Congress from California from 1942 to 1950, and 1944 to 1950, and was defeated for the Senate by Richard Nixon. I've talked about her before. She voted for anti-lynching legislation, and when people were telling her, like, don't do it, because the whole way they could work this is like saying somehow people were even drawing connections between anti-lynching legislation and communism. I mean, that's how crazy people were about the whole anti-communism thing. So it wasn't going to pass. There weren't enough votes to pass it. So people were just saying, like, well, just don't vote for it because it's not going to pass anyway. And she did, because it was the right thing to do. Lyndon Johnson voted against anti-lynching legislation. He passed the Civil Rights Bill of 1957, which, you know, people have mixed feelings about it, but I'm like, it was a fucking civil rights bill, okay? It was something, okay? And then he moved on to pass the voting rights bill and the civil rights bill in the 1960s. So he redeemed himself for a lot of people for not doing anything during the 1940s. That was his way of going about things. I mean, he wasn't going to vote. He wasn't going to vote for something that wasn't going to pass. He wasn't going to imperil his future for something that wasn't going to pass. And he was from the fucking South. And the Southern Democrats were the ones that were the most that were trying to block anti-lynching legislation. And Helga Hagen Douglas, for example, was from California. So, you know, there's a lot of considerations. So yeah, I can find the actual text of it. I don't know. I mean, it's just weird. I mean, I'm just kind of trying to think about it, what it means, I guess. I mean, okay, well, what difference will it make? How can it do what can it do to improve things? What can this legislation do to improve things?
That's what I was trying to figure out myself. That's why I was asking the questions, because I'm like, I mean, they're putting light on something that should have been considered a crime anyway. I don't know.
Can you talk in your mic, please?
Yeah, it just seems like it's something that, I don't know. It just is weird. The whole lynching thing is weird to me. Like I said, it should have been considered a crime anyway. It's like, I don't understand. I get it, but it's like, it should be a crime anyway. I don't understand how. I don't know. I don't get it. I get it, but I don't get it.
That was kind of one of the excuses that was used, was murder's already a crime. Like, there's the Matthew Shepard bill, and that made, I guess, okay, now there's been a couple different bills, because some of them were to make lynching a hate crime. Like the Matthew Shepard bill was to include, was to make homophobia a hate crime. And that's also what the James Byrd
so what I'm trying to say is, though, is if with this being made like a crime, lynching, what more is it gonna do if someone died being lynched? I mean, what's the difference? What is more added to it, since now it's considered a crime of lynching?
Well, it means that they would be charged with murder and with lynching. That means two, and so, yeah, so that's what, so
you would get like, let's just say you get first degree murder and lynching.
Yeah.
You get life in prison. So does that
Yeah.
mean you get double life?
Well, it would mean, the whole way those sentences work, like with some crimes, you'll be eligible for parole, and with some you aren't. And yeah, and so like I think like, and I think with anti-lynching legislation, I think it would also just include the whole mob element of it. So, so in addition to being charged with murder and being charged with lynching, they could probably charge somebody with inciting a riot or something like that.
Okay, let's say you were lynched by one person.
Yeah.
One person lynched somebody.
Yeah.
How would that work?
I don't think that would be considered a lynching.
Even if they lynch somebody?
I think if it's just one person, it's murder. Or it could be a hate crime, but it would be a hate crime. It could be a hate crime if they did it for a racist reason, but not, or if they, it's tricky because like the person it's not enough to have evidence saying like, oh, we know this person is a racist and they is a racist. They need to say something. It's hard to prove what makes, okay, so it would need to be there'd have to be a couple people. The thing about lynching is the pretense of it was taking justice. It was a pretense of justice. People were lynched because somebody said they did this. That's kind of what, so, yeah, so that's why I think it was what people would say that what they did was justice. So they were standing up against this crime. That's why I think the George Floyd murder, that's why I consider it a lynching, because it was it was people taking, it was saying like, oh, this person did something wrong, so we're going to do this. And the public, so yeah, what they would do in the cell, what they used to do is just take somebody out of the jail cell or something. But yeah, so, and yeah, so that's why I don't think if it was one person, it could, like if it was one or two people, you could say it was a hate crime, but it wouldn't be a lynching. So it's possible that, because I think there's crimes that I think people do because they're sick or because they're evil, or sick and evil. And I don't think laws are a deterrent to that. I think and so I wonder if theoretically, if lynchings were illegal, I wonder if lynching being illegal I can see how it could have functioned more so as a deterrent, because it's kind of, I mean, it just people, I mean, lynchings were planned. I mean, they were publicized. They were, that's kind of one reason people could get it. I mean, in a way, like, well, not all of them, but some of them, I mean, in the, that was part of the pretense of people saying that they were doing it because this person did something wrong. So, so maybe it would have been a deterrent. But I mean, with the people that were doing this within a racist legal system, yeah, I just don't know. I mean, I think I don't know. I mean, I just think that maybe I think stuff like this can educate people, that, I don't know, maybe if this makes more people learn about history, and I don't know. I mean, I'm more a fan of the projects to commemorate spaces where people were, I mean, I don't know. I mean, my question would be like, okay, well, what will make things better for people? I'm not sure. Oh, but so I was reading about, so I was watching a film about the branch of the Mississippi government that was created basically just for to maintain white supremacy. And one of the sayings that I learned was, people would say there's the North, there's the South, and then there's Mississippi. So yeah, scary. Okay, there's been, here's something that we'll be watching, and I hope it won't get worse. There has been there's been at least 3 terrorist attacks in Israel in the past week. And it's scary because for some, when wars and military actions start in Israel, it's this time of year because it's the Jewish Passover, and well, Ramadan is always at different times of the years, but but a lot of Ramadan can be at real different times because of how the Islamic calendar works, but I'm not sure. It might be around the same time this spring. And Easter, a lot of the time, I mean, there's terrorist activity from people trying to disrupt other people's religious observances. So it's a bad sign. It's pretty fucking scary. And I mean, the last bombardment, I don't know, man, it just seems like springtime is a bad time in the Middle East. So, okay. The BBC has been allowed to resume its operations in Burundi 3 years after it was banned from the country for reporting on torture. Zimbabwe is reclaiming land that is not being used from Black farmers. And so reclaiming land we've talked about it a lot in Zimbabwe. At one point, they did it under Mugabe's regime. and they took land away from white people and were supposed to redistribute it to Black people, but unfortunately the crimes were, it went to Mugabe's cronies for the most part. And this is just they took away, and land was given to people that did not have the infrastructure and the technology to do anything with it. So it just led to more economic destruction. So what they're doing now is reclaiming land that isn't being used, because that's the problem. I mean, then like even when there were, the white farmers employed people. So then when their land was taken away and just given to Mugabe's cronies, that means that citizens lost their jobs, and citizens, just regular people without influence, didn't get land either. So like a lot of stuff, it did not really serve the majority of Zimbabweans. So now they're reclaiming land again that is not being used and redistributing it. And so hopefully that will be better. I think part of the problem is like if you're going to do that, what you should do is, if you're going to be redistributing land to citizens, like don't give people a huge thing, a huge farm, because they don't have, because you need money to operate that. If you give people like enough land to maintain them and a certain amount of money to buy, farm equipment and stuff, that's what you should do. Don't give people something that, don't give people something that they don't, that they can't afford to use. So, yeah. So hopefully that will be good. So, okay, let's get to the Oscars.
Look at her trying to say the best for last.
I know. Well, I didn't, there's so much to fucking say. I was being real careful. I didn't want to start off with it because I didn't want to take up too much of our show.
Smart move. Good move.
Yes. Yeah. I'm going to start with a little bit of history with other actions in the okay. In 1973, Marlon Brando was awarded got an Oscar for The Godfather and refused to accept it. And what he did was send a Native American woman called Sacheen Littlefeather up to the stage to take the statue and say that he was declining it because of the treatment of Native Americans. So, that was real. That was definitely before every single celebrity was talking about social causes. So, it was pretty interesting at the time. And so apparently, so I was just reading an interview with Sacheen. It was a year ago, but people are reminded of her with Sacheen Littlefeather. And she said that, like, when she went backstage at the opera, I keep saying opera, the Oscars, people were like making all these really racist gestures at her, and that John Wayne like wanted to drag her off the stage and that 6 security guards prevented him from doing it.
Wow.
Yeah. 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 So there was some craziness. Yeah. Okay.
Okay. So at least we know it was crazy back then too.
Yep. Yep. So, man, I don't even know. So I was, yeah, I mean, I wasn't paying. Sunday night, I was just doing, I saw my Facebook Messenger chimed, and I saw a friend of mine had sent me a video of what happened, and I was like, huh? Because I wasn't really paying much attention to the Oscars in the first place. So then, because I follow, and then, you know, because I follow a lot of international news sources, so they were running it without anything bleeped out. So I was like, fuck. And apparently, I just saw today that, because people are going like, why wasn't he escorted out? And I guess apparently he was asked to leave and refused. So I was like, well, that's not really. So they must have just figured that like dragging him out of there would have like made things even worse.
I think it was fake.
You do? I don't.
I think it was totally and completely fake.
Yeah, well, like it wasn't in the rehearsals.
They say.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I think if something was going to be faked, it would be something that doesn't make. If people are going to fake something, it'll be something to make themselves look good, not bad.
I don't know.
I mean, why do you think it was?
They're both actors. I mean, I kind of watched it a few times, and there were certain things I kind of paid attention to that kind of didn't make sense to me.
Like what?
The fact that one, he kind of just walked up on the stage, and to me, it kind of looked like Chris Rock was ready for it. Like he was ready to get
Yeah.
hit.
Yeah, I've seen that.
That was kind of odd to me. Two, the way he did it, knowing that he's at an Oscar, he did it so like, I'm not gonna get in trouble. He didn't really. He slapped him, walked back to his seat, then hollered like 2 times, you know, don't put my fucking wife's name in your mouth, you know, blah blah blah. And he said it twice. And to me, it was just so weird that no security, no one even came and talked to him. Nothing.
Well, apparently they did. They just didn't show it.
When did that happen? And then
Well, that's what I'm seeing now, that they did go to talk to him, but he refused to leave. Yeah, I mean, it was weird that nobody stopped him from walking on stage. But
I just don't believe any other time they've ever had any kind of Grammys, Oscars, when something happens, it's like you see security and all kinds of stuff going on. This just was so, he had so much time to walk up there, slap him, go back and say what he said like 2 or 3 times. I mean, dude, come on. I don't know, man. I personally just honestly, then on top of it, I'm looking at certain things like Chris Rock. He has a tour starting, I think sometime this week. I don't know if it was.
It just started, yeah.
He has a tour starting. All this happens before his tour.
Yeah.
Jada Pinkett Smith is getting ready to start another season of that Red Velvet, whatever.
Yeah,
thing.
yeah.
Look, I mean, come on, man. It just seems like they did it for publicity.
I don't know. I mean, well, it wasn't, I mean, you know, people are saying, you know, I mean, it was sort of like that, you know what I mean? It was kind of like, I mean, it wasn't really that.
It wasn't. That's what I'm saying. It just didn't. It seemed like it was kind of like he was gonna hit him, but stage, like he hit him just enough to try to make it look real.
Yeah.
When you look at it, it looked like how they do it in WWE, like WWF.
Yeah.
And Chris Rock's in there bracing himself for the hit. He takes the hit. oh God, I just got slapped by, you know, and it's just,
Yeah, well, then he says Will Smith slapped the shit out of me, and I'm thinking like, no, he didn't. He like, I mean, it was sort of
that's
like
what I'm
that.
saying. It just didn't seem to me, you know. And then on top of that, Chris Rock goes to the same party that they both go to at the end. I don't know, dude. To me, it seems staged.
Well,
It
what's
just
with them?
seems,
But then they both issued these long. But then there were, I don't know, man. I mean, when
Chris Rock never apologized. He hasn't apologized yet.
yeah, he did.
No, he didn't.
Yeah, he
That's
did.
that little fake apology thing. That's not him. They said it's fake.
Well, no, I
Show
mean,
me-
no, they issued statements. No, they didn't. They've issued like Instagram statements apologizing.
I
Yeah, he
didn't
did.
hear anything about Rock apologize. I know that
Yeah, he did.
that what did
He
Rock
apologized
say?
for
What did-
making fun of Jada's hair.
and where did it? And this was on Instagram.
Yeah,
He apologized on Instagram.
yeah,
I didn't hear nothing about that.
yeah. It was something about something or other like for something or other like it's hard for comedians. Yeah, you should look at it. It's hard for comedians to know the line or whatever. I mean, you know, like Wanda Sykes. I mean, just the way people are talking about it. I mean, I don't know. I guess in a way, even if it was something I mean, yeah, I mean, it's weird that he could just like, yeah, I mean, it was weird that he could just walk up on stage like that, you know? Yeah. I mean, maybe they planned it, but didn't think it would be this big a deal. Cause I mean, people are just like, I heard, like Wanda Sykes was talking about it. And I mean, I like her a lot. I feel like, I mean, she's just somebody whose opinion I would listen to. I mean, she just seems really no drama, you know? And so she was talking about it today and said that, you know, she was like, she said it was traumatic and upsetting and that you shouldn't be able to just get back on stage after assaulting someone. And so I guess, well,
because I'm reading something that he said. This is from CNN, and he kind of, it just doesn't seem like he really apologized. I'm trying to figure out what apology, because he said on here, I don't have a bunch of shit to say about what happened. So if you can't even hear that, I had a because he's saying that it's not like he's apologizing.
No, he did. I'll find it because he did even before, and then it still took.
I know there was a fake apology going around and it wasn't him. They're saying on this one I'm reading, Rock, this was his first public remarks about the incident.
Well, then it must have been
They're saying his first remarks about the incident was on his show, on one of his tours, during one.
Well, then it was fake because I saw it and
it's definitely fake. I know which one you're talking about.
Okay, that one.
At that time, he didn't make it, but I do see where he brought up something about it, but he's not really apologizing. He's more like he doesn't want. He was acting like he didn't want to really talk about it.
Yeah, okay. He issued an apology to Wanda Sykes. Oh, okay, yeah. So false claim that Chris Rock apologized. Oh, because it must. Oh, that was a really good, because it said something like one of those things that comedians say all the time, that it's hard to like know what the line is. Wow. Okay, because yeah, that was he said he crossed a line that I shouldn't have. Yeah. Okay. So I fell for that one, Matt, because
that's what I'm saying. See, that's what I'm saying. A lot of it, he didn't even address it until he did one of his first shows on the tour. I'm saying, I think the whole thing is kind of staged, and he's not apologizing. He's really not apologizing.
I don't know.
This is what CNN said. He said on the show, and I'm gonna read a part of it. He said, Let me be all misty-eyed and shit, Rock said with tears in his eyes, gesturing to the crowd's warm response. Then he asked him, how was your weekend? He quipped, to which the audience responded with laughter. So he's not really apologizing.
Well, yeah. Well, then the thing I saw then, yeah, because what he issued it was.
And to be honest with you, I see his point. I'm not gonna lie. I don't think I would apologize either.
Well, yeah. I mean, that was okay. Yeah, that was a real a sincere apology from Chris Rock circulating on social media isn't real.
Yeah, it's not real. He didn't apologize.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, to look at, I guess it, it resonates. It just resonates with people that, because of women getting bashed for their looks so much, because of women getting bashed for their hair and all of that. So, that's why so many people had a strong response.
Yeah, and I get that, but you can't really put that to a comedy show, like a comedian.
No, you can't. You can't, but
that's kind of like, I don't care which comedian you go to. They may not necessarily, like, you may go, they may not bash you, but they may bash someone else.
Well,
but
yeah,
most of the time, most comedians have one person they always key on. So it's kind of hard for me to see why Will Smith was kind of like a comedian before too. He knows how that works. You can't get mad because a comedian says something like that and take it personal. That's just my opinion.
Yeah. I know. But I think that's partially why it's getting so much attention and traction, because people are so, people were making the connections. There's not a direct connection, but one of the reasons so many people were fired up about it was because of how Ketanji Brown Jackson, the nominee for the Supreme Court, which is a completely different circumstance, but she just had to sit there all week being calm and answering these questions with this real underlying racist sentiment. And so a lot of people were pretty fired up about that, or just that was getting a lot of attention. And so that's just so I think you just saw people with there were a lot of people just saying, like, well, why should Jada Pinkett Smith need to just listen to being mocked like that?
My thing is,
can't hear you, Rizzo.
How is she being mocked?
Pardon?
How is she being mocked?
Well, he was talking about her hair. I know.
But
I know.
Comedians do. It doesn't make sense. That's what comedians do.
I know it's what comedians do, and people don't like it.
If it wasn't either them, it would have been someone else.
Yeah. And so it is sort of like, well, why?
I don't understand where all of that all of a sudden changed when everybody who watched comedians never had this issue with them before. They've been doing that for years. Richard Pryor, Red Fox. All of a sudden now it bothers certain people, and then I get it, maybe the younger people, because they're a little bit different. I know the sensitivity is different, but like when I see people my age and older tripping out, I'm like, dude, y'all used to watch Bernie Mac and all these other dudes, and they used to clown everybody.
Yeah.
Now all of a sudden he said something about G.I. Jane, which wasn't even bad.
Yeah.
I don't know. To me, it's just corny. And I'm gonna put this out there because you know our favorite Spider-Man, Mr. Spy. Me and him got into it about the situation. He keeps bringing up about, you gotta have empathy for the situation. You gotta You got to do this. I'm like, dude, it's not even worth all that. It was. He's a comedian. If you realize that somebody is a comedian, they're doing it out of fun. That's what it is. Then he brought up a point. He was trying to be like, well, what if he would have said tar baby? I was like, dude, I'm
I
not
don't
gonna
have
lie
any
to you.
patience with what ifs.
Yeah,
That's just,
exactly.
yeah.
Yeah, what ifs are stupid, but I'm like, I'm not gonna lie to you. I grew up when my dad had me watching Red Fox all the way up until now. And even if they say something about a tar baby, if it's funny, I'm laughing.
Yeah.
You don't
Yeah.
understand where I come from with it.
Yeah.
I realize a joke is a joke. I know the
Yeah.
difference between someone joking and someone being, serious or trying to be racist with me. There's two different ways.
Yeah.
If I go to a comedy show and the dude's saying a joke, I don't care.
Yeah.
And like I told him, I said, if you don't like the comedy, don't go.
Well,
You don't have
part
to
of
hear it.
it's different. Well, that, I mean, because then a lot of people were talking about Dave Chappelle. I mean,
Exactly. It's the same thing. It's pretty much the same difference.
It's
except he didn't get
different.
slapped.
Well, it's different whether you go to somebody's, I mean, I think it's different whether you go to somebody's comedy show knowing what you're getting into. I mean, because I just feel like hosting or whatever, that's not even a stand-up comedy act.
But
yeah,
most of those times with those Oscars, they do have comedians for that reason.
they
So
do. And there's been scandals other years with him being really, really mean, with comedians being really mean. Yeah. So it has come up. I think that is another reason it's gotten so much attention, because this does get discussed a lot. Comedians always
it does, but they should stop having comedians there. Then they should just stop having them.
Well,
That's
yeah,
the only thing I can say.
they probably will.
You can't have comedians sitting up there and doing what they do.
Yeah,
they're gonna do what they do. They're at the Oscars. They're gonna do what they do at their stand-up. They're gonna try to be the best that they can be.
Yeah.
And if you don't like that kind of comedian, or you're gonna feel, and Chris Rock always clowns. I mean, it's like it's a given.
Yeah.
You have Cat Williams or someone up, they're gonna clown. It's a given.
Yeah.
If it ain't the Smiths, it's gonna be someone else out in the crowd. You just don't know. And so if people can't handle it, that's what I'm saying. They should either not go, or maybe the Oscars should say, "Hey, we don't need comedians no more. We can just have regular, normal, and have it boring." And just
Well, they practically did, because didn't Chris Rock hosted the Oscars years ago, and then he wasn't asked back.
Well, maybe he wasn't, but he came back this time.
Well, that's what because I kind of remember there was controversy about him hosting before.
Yeah, I think it was on the same level. It's what he
Yeah.
says. But
Well, yeah.
that's what I'm saying. I mean,
Yeah.
he's
Don't
a
have
comedian.
comedians host.
Yeah, they're gonna say something funny, and if you're a person that you're gonna get mad about, if you come there and you're wearing some goofy glasses and you
Yeah.
feel weird about, you think your glasses are cool, and he clowns them and you get mad, I don't know what to tell you, dude. That's how they do it. You don't know what they're gonna go after. You just don't know.
Well, yeah, and I don't know, like, yeah, because when I had people mess with you about how if you have really short hair, people are going to mess with you and stuff, and I was like, no, I don't really like it, but what am I going to do? That's just life.
Yeah, but
yeah,
I don't know.
mean, you
It's a
can't-
comedy show, dude. They choose people how they want. They see me with locks. I go there with locks. They might tease me and call me a weed smoker, even though we know I don't smoke weed.
Yeah.
But
yeah,
what am I gonna do? I'm mad at you for saying I smoke weed.
Yeah.
I should come up and slap. I mean, come on, man. It's just the stuff people be tripping, man. And most of the time, these comedians don't know. From what I heard, and I don't know what the truth is, I heard he didn't know she had alopecia.
yeah.
That's what I heard. So I don't know what the truth is. I never knew she had it. So
Well, yeah.
I would have never known. If I was
would
doing
you?
comedy up there and I would have clowned her,
Yeah.
people would have probably said the same thing about me, but I never knew she had it. I just thought she
Yeah.
always liked her hair short. I just thought that was her thing. So
Well, yeah, it's like, my God, because it's like, okay, she's stunning, she's rich, she's successful. She's just acknowledged. I don't know, because she is acknowledged everywhere as like a stunning woman, and so what if one person says something,
And Will Smith even laughed. He laughed
He did.
before she got upset. So
Yeah.
it's like the whole thing is just kind of weird to me. But personally, between me and you, I think it was fake. I think it was more of a publicity thing than anything.
Maybe, but I don't know, but it sure backfired on them. They're talking about taking away his Oscar.
Well,
I mean,
Let's see if they actually do it.
yeah. Well, yeah, I mean, I don't know. I mean, I feel bad that it, you know, I mean, it takes away the effect for a lot of other people. I mean, that's the problem. I mean, it just completely draws attention away from a lot of other people. And that's the problem. I mean, but I don't know. I mean, I don't think Wanda, I mean, you know, Wanda Sykes saying she was like, it was traumatic or something. I mean, you know, she's somebody who I don't think would be fussing around with drama or something. I mean, you know, she's a comedian.
That's what I'm saying. She knows. She knows.
No, she didn't like what, yeah, she said that like she thought Smith should, you know, that you shouldn't be able to assault somebody and then just, you know.
She's being honest. I agree with her.
Yeah.
You go there seeing a comedian, you know what they're gonna do. If you look up these comedians, you can look them up and look at their shows. You have YouTube now. So before you see a comedian, you can see what they're gonna say, kind of what they're about. Most comedians work the same way. They have their pattern, their set, what they call it. Like they have a set, just like a DJ has a set. So if your comedian is raunchy and he's at the Oscars, he's probably going to be raunchy at the Oscars. So
yeah,
don't have him there. Don't have him there. You know, that's all I can say.
Yeah.
But you still got to understand, no matter what, they are comedians. They're not personally attacking someone. They're just going through the crowd and just trying to get the crowd going, whatever works.
I don't know. I mean, it's just hard for me to believe that, like, I mean, I don't know. I mean, when Will Smith first when he got up there and was saying like, oh, love makes you do crazy things. And that was like fucked up because that's what violent people, that's what domestic abusers
Yeah, that was
say.
crazy. That's some crazy stuff right there.
It is. That's just what, I mean, why would he fake? It just sort of, because to me, I mean, if you're going to fake something, it would be to make yourself look good. You know, I mean, he was a total mess when he got up there. So that just seemed so weird. Like, why would anybody fake something that would just wind up making them look ridiculous?
But that thing that makes it so weird to me is, even if he wanted to slap him,
yeah,
he could have easily did that after the show.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
It just, the whole thing just seemed weird. Like, it just, the way I've always known Will Smith, he at least seemed a little classy about stuff, you know.
Yeah.
So I don't know. That's why I think this whole thing is kind of staged a little bit, because it just, dude, out of all the places you choose the Oscars to walk up and slap somebody and then issue out profanities at him, and then it's just, I don't know. He had too much time to do all that too. It was weird.
Well, yeah, I mean, yeah, like, why isn't this, why there's no security by the stage? I mean,
no security. They're still filming the whole thing. It's like, I don't get it.
Yeah, and it was sort of like, okay, why'd they keep the camera? They flipped right. Yeah, I mean, because I wonder, like, okay, who decided to like flip right back over, you know?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. It just, I don't know. To me, just the whole thing seemed weird.
Yeah. Yeah, but I don't know. I mean, I just think if you're gonna fake something, then why don't you fake like saving someone from a burning building or doing CPR or something? I mean, it's a weird thing to fake.
I agree with that one, but I think the way society is now, people like drama. So if you're saving somebody from, like you said, a burning boat or something, I don't think it's as recognized as you going up and slapping a comedian because they said something about you. People like that kind of stuff more than they do people saving somebody. I hate to say it, but you don't hear too much about people saving somebody. And when you do hear about it, people don't care. If you see, you don't like, they don't keep talking about it. They're going to talk about this for another week or two.
Oh, I think it's going to last for longer than that. Then I wonder, like, I'm already thinking, okay, what are they going to do? What are they going to do next Oscars? And I mean, I don't know. I mean,
I think they did it for publicity. I think they did exactly what they wanted to do. He's on tour right now. He's going to get a lot of people wanting to know what happened. So everybody's going to go to his show, Chris Rock. When Jada Pinkett and them have their TV show going, everybody's going to want to know what happened, why he did it.
Yeah.
It's just to me, it's publicity.
Yeah. Damn.
Oh.
People they got to be pretty fucking desperate for publicity, man. I mean, they're really famous. My God. I mean,
I don't get either, but You just never know, man. Situations be like that.
His speech was just fucking crazy when he was talking about protecting all these people and stuff. I was like, oh, that's fucked up. You shouldn't be like, don't be dragging in everybody you acted with and like leave them out of it. That's just
right, dude. I mean, that's what I'm saying. And then the whole sensitivity of it. I mean, it's just he said a joke, dude. If you don't like the joke, I get it. But come on now, don't turn it into like he tried to verbally abuse y'all like it was some big.
People say some fucked up stuff like, oh man, the Harvey Weinstein year, people say real fucked up stuff. I mean,
really, to me, when I heard the G.I. Jane part, I was like, people really think it's that bad? G.I. Jane was a good movie. That's a good person to be compared to. If I was a woman and someone said I look like G.I. Jane, I'd be like, hey, I could do that. I could be G.I. Jane. I didn't even understand that, but it is what it is.
Jada Pinkett's been in. She's done some action movies too.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It doesn't. And when they took a picture of them side to side, they put Demi Moore next to her. Dude, I'm like, they kind of look. She could really be in G.I. Jane too. It could happen.
Yeah.
All I gotta say is, Jada, if you do G.I. Jane 2, you better thank Chris Rock for it because he was the one that brought it up.
Yeah, because she did. I remember she did some kind of show. You know, just a second. God damn it! Get down, jerk. He has this spot. Damn it, Logue. Ugh. Giselle, where'd you go? Okay, so okay, so I got a show. So I'm gonna be screen. I mean, it's gonna be a little bit, but in May I'm gonna do a live screening of Twitch Talk, the podcast I'm on, because I just need to do something different than historical stuff. I just feel too confined, and I don't have any. I just didn't really so much have new ideas for stuff to do, and I don't know. I need something different to do. So yeah. Do you got any shows coming up?
No, because I think yours is the next one, right?
Really?
May?
No one else?
I don't think anything else. I gotta look. I got a wedding, but that's in June. I think I got something else in late May. I can't think of nothing else right now. I'd have to look in my phone.
Oh, okay. So wait, do you have don't you have any other shows this week?
Yeah, we do. We got tomorrow, Tree Can Know Better, Do Better. We got what is it? The happy hour on Friday.
Yeah.
We got on Saturday Duck Soup.
So you are booked up.
Yeah, it's wild, man. It keeps going.
Yeah. Yeah. So, well, okay, everybody. That's about it for us. We'll be back next Tuesday night.
Yep.
Okay, 8 p.m.
Oh, yeah, y'all.